a Bachelor of Health Science. She is a naturopath with a background in aesthetics and is the director of clinic Sanctum Skin plus Body plus Beauty. Management, coupled with her naturopathic skill, provides a unique service to her clients, and you can imagine that it would. With this knowledge, she is able to identify and rectify problems both internally and externally, and she is extremely passionate about skin and gut health, and with this knowledge, she is changing lives and achieving great success in both areas. What an amazing gift that you give to people. Thanks, Tanja. Please welcome Tanja to the stage.
Hi everyone, I'm Tanja Vrljic, and I'm so excited to be here. So as you heard, I'll be talking to you about the microbiome and its effect on our health. So when it comes to talking about gut health, I'm a bit of a geek. So when it comes to talking about gut health, I'm a little bit of a geek because I had major gut issues, and in a search of resolution, I kept hitting dead ends. So I decided to take matters into my own hands and study naturopathy. So that's what I'm doing today. So as they said, I'm the owner of Sanctum Skin Health Beauty, and at our clinic we practice holistic approach when it comes to skin and health treatments. So I'm a true believer when it comes to, health issues. They're usually related to unhealthy gut. So now more than ever, we are bombarded with websites, self-help sites, programs talking about the microbiome being a core of a whole host of conditions. So, and they say if we could just change our microbiome, we'll be healthy, we'll be less anxious, we will sleep better. And the industry making these things that can help our microbiome is absolutely huge. So the question is, can supplement change our microbiome, or can we eat ourselves healthy? So before we start, what is microbiome? So it is a collection of organisms that lives inside of us and on us. And it's made out of viruses, yeast, fungi, parasites, and one that we know the most about is bacteria. So when it comes to bacteria, we have 38 trillion of bacteria living in us. So 38 trillion on one individual. But something I find even more fascinating is that we have 10 times more microbial cells than human cells. So based on where we come from, we have anywhere from 300 to 500 different species of probiotics, which we can't buy in the shop, or we can't supplement them. So we have to let our body produce them for us. So the moment we enter this world, through the birth canal, we're covered with microbiome. And that microbiome helps us with our gut microbiome. So by the age of 5, we have our adult-like microbiome. So babies born by Caesar have totally different microbiome. So it's a skin microbiome, and the research has shown that babies born by Caesar have 5 times more chance of developing allergies when they're exposed to cats, dogs, house mice. And also, the fascinating thing is that all this bacteria living inside of us and on us is quite diverse. And just to show you how diverse, this is an art done by a UK artist called Mel Fisher. So what she does, she harvests the bacteria from the face and plants it onto gel-like sculptures. So this is only bacteria from her face, and it's really fascinating how different in shape and colour it is. So, as she calls it, a living, breathing portraits. So what is function of microbiome? So it protects us from infection, but also People say gut is the key to our health. And the reason to that is that 80% of our immune system is located in our digestive system. And 100% of our T regulatory cells that regulate our immune system are based in our digestive system. So our digestive system is a home to our immunity. So when it comes to bowel regularity, bacteria breaks down the fiber from our diet and makes something called short-chain fatty acids. So what these short-chain fatty acids do, they help with our gut motility, they help energize the cells of our gut, and research has shown that people with chronic constipation have a very low amounts of short-chain fatty acids. So it comes back to fiber again. So, I should be using this. Dr. Martinez, what he did, he researched effect of fiber on mucosa. So as we all know, the mucosa in our intestines is very important because it protects the lining of our gut, but also it hosts immunity. So what he did, he planted 14 different bacteria commonly found in human gut. Also, he infected mice with a bacteria that causes inflammation, irritation, and diarrhea. So after feeding mice a diet in 15% of fiber, he observed no changes to mucosa. So what he did further, he put mice onto no fiber diet, and in little as 3 days, he observed erosion to mucosa and a gut lining. Importance of this mucosa is that it really protects us. So when we have an infection, the bacteria that lives in the mucosa changes to adapt and help our body. When we look at the fecal matter, that doesn't change. So what they did, something even more interesting, is that they fed them food that was high in soluble fiber that's found in prepackaged food and also some supplements. So the results were exactly the same as the results with no fiber. So all this opens the door for the bacteria to get into the bloodstream and upregulate our immune system. So we know that healthy intestines are permeable and they let nutrients in to our body, into our bloodstream, to nourish ourselves. However, the problem starts when the gaps in our lining are too big and large food particles, viruses, get into our bloodstream and cause changes to our immune system. So upregulation of our system, upregulation of our immune system can activate something as called brain-gut microbiome axis, which can further lead to anxiety and depression. So when it comes to gut bacteria, we sometimes have to treat it with antibiotics. Antibiotics save many lives, and we will continue to need them, but not all the time, and not as a general approach. So we have to come up with a different approach. So these days, science knows that bacteria communicate in a very sophisticated way. So by going in and clipping the wires of communication, we're able to get rid of these bacteria. So as naturopaths or health practitioners, we can do this by using a high-quality plant extracts and enzymes that break down encapsulation of bacteria. So this won't harm good bacteria, also will look after the gut and liver and pancreas. So, leaky gut. Let me introduce you to Norman Borlaug. So he was a Nobel Prize winner for his life work developing high-yielding variety of pest-resistant wheat. So in making this wheat, he unfortunately didn't realize that levels of lectins were 100 times more than original wheat. So lectins are molecules that plants make to protect themselves from environment. So scientists are now heavily investigating link between lectins and leaky gut, and also lectins activating lectins basically marking the gluten as an invader once the gluten is in the body. So, why are we so excited about microbiome? So, microbiome has superpowers. So, just to show you one of the superpowers, here we got the desert rat. And you know, it lives in the desert. There's no abundance of food, but something that grows quite rapidly is the toxic bush that this rat can eat quite comfortably because over the time it has developed a microbiome that can break down the toxins. So what researchers did, they given antibiotics to rats and observed that in few days he was experiencing kidney and liver failure, which tells us that microbiome does have superpowers. So another superpower where Dr. Gordon and his team investigated a connection of a microbiome and a weight gain. So he found a very rare set of identical twins where one was lean and one was obese, and transplanted their fecal matter to genetically identical mice. And after 5 weeks of a low-fat diet, they observed increase of 15 to 17% of weight in a mice that had a microbiome from a obese twin. And also, they observed metabolic changes that come with obesity. What they did even further, what Dr. Gordon called battle of microbiota, they housed these rodents together. So what rodents do, once they house together, they should eat each other's droppings. So in a few weeks' time, obese mice has lost weight because the microbiome from a lean mice has won. So that's quite fascinating. So interest has recently expanded beyond gut microbiome to include the skin microbiome and its impact on various skin diseases. So oral and topical probiotics appear to be effective for the treatment of certain inflammatory skins like rosacea, psoriasis, acne, and psoriasis. So, and the role of these probiotics is quite promising. So here we got 5 randomized double-blind placebo-controlled clinical trials done on human, and different types of applications. So we've got a topical and oral. And as you can see, for reactive skin, topical application of Bifidobacterium longum twice daily for 2 months increased skin hydration while limiting skin sensitivity. In extremely dry skin, topical application again of Lactobacillus brevis twice daily for 4 weeks reduced transepidermal water loss. Psoriasis, oral application of Bifidobacterium infantis daily for 6 to 12 weeks basically reduced inflammation, systematic inflammation. And the other two are on dermatitis. There's an oral and a topical one, and I found this one quite fascinating, the topical one with Lactobacillus johnsoni, twice daily for 3 weeks, a reduction of staphylococcal and a reduction in lesions. So, quite promising. So, her research has shown that specific probiotic strains prevent skin aging by reversing a photo damage of the skin. So probiotics can be used for skin rehabilitation after cosmetic procedures, and Zakali et al. In his research used a cream that contained probiotic-derived compounds and recorded a statistically significant reduction of post-operative skin inflammation. However, what he observed is that probiotics have a minimal compatibility with other components of skin creams. And also, he found that they can be only used for a few days because their organoleptic properties decline. So for us as skin therapists, this is quite exciting and promising and something worth keeping an eye on. So, in Belgian researchers have looked into microbiome and its effect on mental health. And what they found that Faecobacterium and Coccus bacteria, high presence of these bacteria was more common in people that were enjoying high quality of mental life. So lower than average levels of Coccus and other stuff were common in people with depression. So what they did, they went even further and researched whether the gut bacteria in general could communicate to the nervous system. And they found that many of them can produce neurotransmitters or precursors for substances like dopamine and serotonin. And we know that dopamine and serotonin have complex roles in the brain, and their imbalance have long been linked to depression. So there's another study that they did, and I thought this was quite interesting, was that using 2 probiotics as a prevention, Lactobacillus helveticus and Bifidobacterium longum. So they use it as a prevention in individuals that were predisposed from chronic anxiety. Sorry, Okay, so this could pave the way for the new treatments for the mental health disorders based on probiotics that boost levels of good bacteria in the intestines.
When they're consuming the yogurt, whatever formula they're consuming for the people that have the chronic anxiety and depression, would they have to stop taking all their medications at the same time?
No. With probiotics, they're not contraindicated with medication. So, what can we do to enable healthier microbiome? So, Mechnikov, he was a Russian immunologist who was awarded the Nobel Prize for his work in immunology. Later in his career, he was really interested in why people in Bulgaria lived longer. So what he found, that they were consuming huge amounts of fermented food, which was very high in lactic acid bacteria. So he said, you are what you eat, but he also hinted at, what if you're not just what you eat? What you are what your microbes eat. So, basically, all you need to do is have a healthy diet. Diet rich in healthy fats, fruit, vegetables, good sources of protein, complex carbohydrates, food high in probiotics, foods, and prebiotics. So, your fermented foods and all. So, basically having a good range of food. I'm also a big advocate for limiting genetically modified food out of your diet, cutting processed carbs, sugars, and excess alcohol out of your diet to help your microbiome. So, as we learned, food can be your medicine or the slowest form of poison. And as the matchmaker said, you are what you eat, and you are what your microbes eat. Thank you. There are research pieces, so if there's anyone interested, please contact me. And if there's any questions, please feel free to come in.